It was a crisp afternoon in the heart of Washington, D.C., where the political elite had gathered for a live TV debate. The air was thick with anticipation as two figures, each representing very different worlds, were about to clash. Karoline. Leavitt, a well-known political figure, sat confidently on the stage, her sharp words ready to cut through the tension. But across from her sat someone whose presence alone demanded respect. President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. The moderator introduced them with a brief description. Karoline Leavitt, a forceful critic of global education reform. Ibrahim Traoré, a quiet but determined leader fighting for the future of education in Africa. As the debate began, Leavitt wasted no time in taking aim at President Traoré's vision for education in his country. How do you expect to reform education in a country with such limited resources? She sneered, a dismissive smile playing on her lips. The words hung in the air, cutting deep. How can you even talk about education when your own country can barely provide basic necessities? The audience gasped. Many were stunned. Some leaned forward in their seats, eager to see how the president would respond. But Traoré, calm and composed, simply nodded. He wasn't offended. He understood. Education is not just about textbooks and classrooms, he began, his deep voice steady. It's about opportunity. It's about hope. It's about creating futures where there were none before. Yes, my country may not have the resources of the richest nations, but we have something far more powerful, an unwavering belief in the potential of our children. The silence that followed was thick with contemplation. Leavitt, however, wasn't finished. With a sharp laugh, she leaned forward, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Well, that's a nice sentiment, Mr. Traoré, but you can't educate people without the resources to do so. It's idealistic nonsense, the audience murmured. Some people frowned while others exchanged glances. The tension was palpable. But then something unexpected happened. Traoré stood up, his eyes never leaving hers. Slowly, he walked towards the edge of the stage. The camera zoomed in as he faced Leavitt, his presence commanding the room. "You're right," he said quietly. "You're absolutely right about one thing. Resources matter, but what matters more is the will to use them wisely. It's not about waiting for the perfect conditions, but about making do with what we have and building something better from the ground up." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "Let me tell you a story," he continued, his voice softening. "When I was a boy, we didn't have enough textbooks. But my father, who was a teacher, would gather the village children under the stars. He'd teach us lessons not just from books, but from life. He showed me that education is not just in what you learn. It's in the resilience you build, the belief you carry forward, and the kindness you share with others." The room fell silent. For the first time, Karoline Leavitt's expression softened, and the audience was caught off guard. Here was a man whose very existence was a testament to the power of education, not as a tool of the privileged, but as a beacon of hope for those who had nothing. Leavitt's laughter had died in her throat. She wasn't prepared for this. How could anyone argue with a story like that? "You speak of idealism," Traoré went on, his voice steady but filled with conviction. "But I am here to tell you that idealism is exactly what the world needs right now. If we give up on our children because they don't fit into the mold we've created, then we lose the future. And I refuse to let that happen. Not in my country, and not in any country." The room was still. No one dared to speak, but the tension had shifted from confrontation to something far more profound: respect. Karoline Leavitt, who had mocked his education plans just moments before, stood up. Her posture was different now, less rigid, and there was a hesitant flicker of admiration in her eyes. She cleared her throat. "You've changed my perspective," she admitted quietly, more to herself than to anyone else. I didn't realize the power of resilience in education. It was a simple acknowledgement, but for those watching, it was a monumental shift. Traoré had not only defended his vision, but he had done so with grace, kindness, and the kind of humility that left an indelible mark on everyone in the room. As the debate drew to a close, the moderator gave the final word to each participant. Karoline Leavitt's voice wavered as she spoke. "I think we all need to reassess what we've been taught about education," she said, her words resonating with a new understanding. "There's more to it than we've been led to believe." The crowd erupted in applause, not just for the shift in perspective, but for the quiet power of kindness and wisdom that had prevailed. And as the cameras panned out, President Ibrahim Traoré gave a small nod of thanks to the audience. The applause continued, but it was clear. This moment wasn't just about policy. It was about a change in the way the world viewed education and the potential that resided in the most unlikely places.